Huh. Hey guys, I'm trying to figure out the Zoom thing, so bear with me for a second. Where did my live? Okay, cool. All right, hold on one second. There we go. Let's see. All right. Yay. Okay. I'm gonna get Heather up here now. Okay, let me go. Where's my Zoom? Ah, Facebook Live setup. No. Okay, hold up. Hold up. Fancy go. I think I figured it out. You know how you figure something out and you're like, oh my God, yes. Like, yes, yay. Because Facebook, I don't know what the heck's going on with you. But seriously, Kenzie, please stop. Whew. Okay. You can stop now. Seriously, let's see, we're recording. I love this. Okay, I'm gonna take you guys to the door so that we can let Kenzie out. Now, as I was talking about before, so let's get back on this podcast while we're waiting for Heather. Hopefully this will work. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Because, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Gotta love it. All right. So, so I was listening to that podcast all about loneliness, and I'm curious what you guys think about that thought. Oh, whoops. I forgot to send her my link. Um, but I'm curious what you guys think about the concept that, loneliness can actually be a bit of an epidemic and is a bit of an epidemic right now. I'm very curious what y'all think about that because there's so much going on right now, especially with healthcare and, you know, all the stuff in the world that we're hearing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I am loving the fact that they're looking at um things like they're looking at things like food dyes and stuff like that. I love that. It's awesome. Okay, so we are let's get you guys gotta bear with me for a second. Now that I figured this out, I think from now on we're just gonna go use Zoom because at least this way I can make sure everybody's up and ready and y'all don't have to listen to this part, right? Telling you though, this is kind of how my whole day, like my week has gone. It's been kind of crazy. Anybody else having a crazy week? Like, my week's insane this week, and I can't even explain why. It's not like I have a big reason why. It's just I don't know. It's just kind of crazy day, crazy week. Yesterday, oh my God, I was so tired yesterday. The boys didn't really sleep the night before, so you know, you know how that goes, right? And there we go. All right, let me email that to her. So yesterday, my brain was barely functional, and I actually got some stuff done. I was very happy about that. and I'm only chatting with you here. What I'm going to do, just if you're still hanging out here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this, and once we are done chatting, because Heather had some stuff that I would love to share with you guys. There she is.
Hi.
Hey. Oh my gosh, what an adventure.
What
I
a mess. Can you hear me okay?
can. I can hear you great. And
Good.
let me hold on. Let me make sure I have Facebook up on my phone too. Because
That's why, because tech.
yeah. Oh, yep. Perfect.
Woo, we got it.
Perfect. Holy crow. I'm gonna say something else. I don't know why. I think I'm in a place where I'm like, don't piss any of the ancestors, the universe, your spirit guides, don't piss anyone off.
Anything. Ah, good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes. All right, we fixed it. We're done.
We can all take off for the rest of the week.
After yesterday and this morning, yes.
Goodness.
Insane. So we're going to talk what? Self-care? I think it's what we had said we were going
I
to talk.
feel like that's what you need right now.
Yeah, that it
Oh,
certainly
that.
feels that way. Like,
Let's
wow.
love on Bonnie.
Oh,
Yeah, let's talk about self-care.
yeah, because like, oh, insane, dude. Oh,
Yeah, I'm excited. So you know, because we've talked about this a lot, and you know about my YouTube channel, so you know I talk about it a lot. But I'm excited because I think I have something on my mind that's gonna be a little bit different about how I've talked about it with your audience or on Facebook recently. So
yeah, and I know you got some stuff coming up that I saw it and I was like, okay, you guys need to know this.
I got some really fun stuff coming up. So
I'm
get
excited.
into that.
Yeah, because there's a few of you on here on my Facebook that I'm gonna actually send this directly to you. I'll cut out the whole front part where I'm talking to you and just chit-chatting and stuff like that. But like, yeah, you need to hear this. So you're gonna be tagged or you're gonna receive this. Just
Yes. For the ooey gooey goodness.
yes. Well, go ahead, because I know it sounds like you got stuff on your mind. So let's hear it. What's up?
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't prepare a speech. I kind of thought it would come out in conversation, but why not? Let's go. Nothing like being put on the spot. Okay, you go, Heather. I can do that. So, okay. So let's get something out in the open here. Self-care is not what I think most people think it has to be. And that's the problem with why so many people don't do it. So do we have anybody live right now? Because I'd love to engage some people in conversation. If not, it's fine.
Mm-mm.
Okay, that's fine. But drop if you're watching the replay, drop a comment and let us know so we can continue the conversation. Because of course we'll be checking the chat later. But so what now, Bonnie, you probably have like a deeper kind of idea behind self-care, but for somebody who doesn't talk about self-care, really engage in self-care, get the benefits that they're supposed to be getting from self-care. What do you think that their perspective would be like? What are the things that you think come to mind for people when they think of the phrase?
I think the people I talk to when I mention self-care, they're thinking like massages and facials
Yeah,
and, the big things. And I
right.
remember when you and I met, my big self-care thing was I just want to take a shower every day.
Yeah, I remember that
I,
conversation.
I
And
just want to be able to take a shower, like not hop in, rinse out, and come out. Like take a real shower.
yeah, yeah.
People don't think about that. It's crazy to me when you mention self-care, the things that pop up. Like I
Mhm.
had someone say, well, I can't go on vacation that much. I'm just like, well, I mean, yeah, that's a part of self-care, I guess, but
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's even for most of us, vacations are not self-care because how many of us come home? I know people have said this. Drop a yes if you've said this in the past. If you're watching this on the replay, drop a yes anyways. If you've said, I need a vacation after my vacation,
mhm.
because it's okay. Here's what's going on. We think like these breaks from the norm are self-care, and they can be. It's not what I talk about when I talk about self-care, but let's get into that for a second. they can be self-care, but you have to be intentional about making it so. So it's not just self-care because, you've broke your norm, because you've traveled somewhere else, because you're on a beach. You could be on a beach and still be completely stressed out or still be go, go, go. Do you have your laptop at the beach with you? Are you doing research? Have you actually taken a break? When I talk about self-care, I'm talking about like refilling your cup in every area that you need to, mind, body, spirit, all the things. We're not talking about just lounging in a beach chair. That's fun too, but
Yeah.
it's not the thing that's going to rejuvenate the whole you. So if you're not intentional about rejuvenating the whole you, it doesn't matter how far from your house you get. You could go across the globe, you can bring your family or not. It doesn't matter if you're not intentionally doing the things that refill your cup. So for everybody, that's going to look different. But the thing I was excited to talk about today is that there are a few things that I think no matter who you are, they're going to apply. So, Bonnie, I don't subscribe to a one size fits all anything, not self-care, not mindset, not any of it. We all have to do it in the way that makes sense to us. And we're all in different phases. So like if I say start here and you're here, like that doesn't even make sense to me. But there's a few things that I think no matter who you are or what phase of life you're in or what stage of in like diving into your self-care you're at, these things are for everybody. So the first thing, I know you've heard me talk about this, and I know I'm one of a million zillion people who talks about this, but it's some kind of deep breathing,
Mhm.
right? So you could be at the beach, you could be at the gym, you could be in the middle of a conference call at work, you could be talking to a new client, and you can be doing your deep breathing. And I know it sounds silly and it sounds simple, but if you're deep breathing, there is a whole beautiful scientific thing that's going on where your brain is starting to calm. It's coming out of the chaos that you have been sitting in, whether you know it or not, because if it's become your norm, you probably don't know it. So if you bring your brain out of the chaos that it's been in and you allow it to quiet, and then you get to focus on your body and start to relax your body. You relax your muscles, you shift your nervous system into a more peaceful state, then your body can start to harmonize and act like it's supposed to, not like you're under a constant threat, which is how much most of us exist these days, right?
Yeah.
We're go, go, go. If we're always worried about what the next thing is, if we're always fearful of what's going to happen on the other side, because I don't, do you have a lot of, I know you have a lot of moms watching. Do you have a lot of entrepreneurs watching?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's so,
Uh,
and I add them every day.
Beautiful. So we all know that in order to build a business, you have to step outside your comfort zone. Stepping outside your comfort zone means entering into a space of fear.
Yeah.
Entering into a space of fear means potentially heightened levels of anxiety. So if we're doing all of those things and we're not finding calm in the moment and in a consistent way, then you're not attending to your whole self. So that simple breathing that feels like, what is that going to do for me? That's what it's going to do for you. It's going to bring you back down. It's going to calm your mind. It's going to calm your body. And as a result, you're going to be a lot more clear. So when you can be more clear in your thinking, you can be exponentially more productive. You can be more creative. So that's all the beautiful things that happen when we do something as simple as deep breathing.
Yes. Yes. And we talk breathing a lot. There's
Yeah.
a whole circle of us that I talk to all the time, you included, and all of us talk about breathing. We,
Yeah. And I'm not bringing anything new to the table. If you ask any expert, they're going to tell you deep breathing is probably the absolute simplest thing that you can do for yourself. And it's with like the most profound impact.
Absolutely. And it's the one thing that a lot of us don't do. We don't remember
Right.
when chaos hits, someone says it afterward and it's like, oh, okay.
Well, and because we don't think about it, right? If it's not natural, if it's not a habit. So I'll tell you at this point for me, it's a habit because I've made it so. So
Hmm.
when I notice that I'm going, now let me back up because a lot of people don't know me. I am 43 years, just recently, a couple of days ago, 43 years into my life. I spent the vast, almost 40 years of that period in heightened anxiety, And I used to live by phrases like, I'm just a high stress individual
Oh,
because I didn't know I could change it. And so it's just who I am. Like some people are stressed, some people are not, right? I'm just one of those people who are stressed. And I just accepted it as part of this is my life, this is my truth.
yeah.
And it wasn't until I learned to question that and that I was capable of calming all of that anxiety that I had experienced for the better part of 4 decades, that perfectionism that drove so much of that anxiety,
Mhm.
that I started realizing, oh, I don't have to be a high stress individual. Like, I actually can attend to this stuff despite the fact that this has been my entire life up to this point.
Yeah.
So, for whatever that's worth, it is never ever too late to start shifting things. But so I think the point I was starting to make there was habits, right? So it's when we
Yeah.
start to learn to turn these things that we want to shift into habits. But again, it goes back to having to be intentional. So that's not going to happen on accident. The good habits don't happen on accident. A lot of the ones that we don't want do happen on accident.
Right.
Um, just from a perpetual state of being, when we do things over and over and over and over, they become habits, right? And so we have to be intentional about doing those things that better serve us, like the deep breathing. So I notice I'm getting stressed, do my deep breathing. I notice that I'm getting ready to want to yell at my kids, even though, maybe they just, maybe what they really need, even they're being little gremlins at that
Uh-huh.
point, is really a hug. Because even though it looks like they're being brats, what they're really feeling inside, it might be like, Mom, I really just need you right now, but they don't have the words to say that, right?
Right.
And so if I
Right.
take a deep breath, then I can recognize that.
Mhm.
So, and not a deep breath, like a series of deep breaths.
Yeah.
But yeah, the point is though, when you start the habit, these things become more natural. So this is one thing. Is this going to shift your entire life? Maybe a little bit, not everything. You've got to do other things, which
Mhm.
I will share some of. But yeah, that nobody can tell me that you can't do the deep breathe unless like you have, nasal issues or something. But in that case, you just breathe through the mouth instead of the nose. So,
Right.
really just it's available to everybody.
Exactly. We have to breathe on a normal basis, breathing intentionally.
Right. You're gonna breathe anyways. So if you deepen your breaths, it's gonna give back to you in
Yeah.
those ways. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought of a question mostly because, and I was talking about this while I was trying to figure out the tech stuff. I was listening to a podcast this morning all about loneliness and how it's an
Mm,
epidemic, and because we're um, lacking connection, like
yeah.
person connection, virtual connection. There's so many people that are just kind of going into their shells and
Mhm.
claiming that it's self-care, like I'm taking care of me, which there's nothing wrong with that. But apparently people are taking it to such an extreme, and there's so many people taking it to an extreme that loneliness has become an official epidemic.
Yeah, I can see that. I could totally see that. I think this is just from my perspective here, but I think the important thing in something like that is to recognize that there has to be some form of a balance. And so you have to find the balance between stepping away from the things that are bringing you stress. So whether that's social media, whether that's a particular community that you're a part of, whatever it is, stepping away from that. So creating a boundary, right? So 100% a form of self-care. Also, though, not staying in that spot where it's just you to the point where, because we are social beings, no matter how introverted one might be, no matter how used to doing things on their own one might be, we are social beings. And so having a community in our brain somehow, it might not be like a conscious thought, but our brains perceive having our community or what people would call like a tribe, right, as safety. So not having that at some point also creates stress. So can you separate yourself from the things that are bringing you stress, but also make sure that you've still got those people in your community who are lifting you up? And
Mhm.
I'd say that's where the balance is. So don't dive back in. Like if that community, that group, that social media page or platform or whatever brings you stress, don't go back to it unless you have to, or periodically, or set your boundaries within that space. But don't eliminate those who could be there with you, lifting you up along the way, and you for them, for that matter. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I actually believe the same thing. I mean, I'm such a social person and I'm such an extrovert that
Me too.
I don't understand the introverted side. I mean, I get it. I'm not saying I don't comprehend it. It's I don't understand what that feels like because for me,
No.
if I'm away from people for too long, like COVID was hard for me.
Mhm.
I mean, I had these two little babies at home, but having adult, like in-person adult interaction,
Yeah.
not having as much as I had when everything shut down, it was so hard for me. So I think I get plenty of in-person interaction at this point because I feel it when I don't.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the thing. For you and I believe it's probably easier to say like go out and socialize and things, but that's not what I'm necessarily suggesting. I don't suggest that anybody tries to be something they're not, right? So can I fully comprehend what it's like to be introverted? Not really. I think we all have like a little bit of both. I am much less introverted than I am. I'm mostly extroverted. I have my moments. But with introversion, the thing is it's not that, if you're introverted, you're antisocial or anything like that. It's that you have to be specific about where you spend your energy. So spending your energy with people that lift you up, that will give something back to you still. Even if you still need to separate yourself and have your downtime after that interaction, there's nothing wrong with that, but still having that time with those people that do fill your cup.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I have people that fill my cup virtually because we're so far away.
Yeah.
But then I also have the people locally, and I know one of the things, when we kind of reconnected this fall, is one of the things I told you is I need to make sure I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I need to make sure I'm connecting to the people in my circles because that was the thing I had let go of
Mhm.
because life was so busy.
Yeah.
And it's different. I remember saying life is so busy before I had the boys, and it's like I understood what
Mhm.
that actually meant. Like I was making myself busy
Yeah.
before them, and now it's like there's someone else. There's two little things
Mhm.
who are so reliant on me that it's a different type of busy.
Yeah.
Um, and I got so wrapped up in that I let some of that go. So not connecting to the people that I view as my support system, as my tribe.
Mhm.
It has really helped the last 3 months
Yeah.
since I decided, you know what, enough's enough. I need to stop doing this because it's not healthy for me. It's not healthy for them.
Yeah.
And my health falls onto them too. You feel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It impacts.
Children are very intuitive. So even if they don't, hear the thoughts that we're keeping, if they don't hear the conversations we're having, they still can sense the energy.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting woo woo. Like this, kids are very intuitive.
They feel it. When one of us is in a bad mood, they start acting wonky.
Yeah.
And it used to happen with my nephews a lot. And I couldn't really recognize it. And then when it happened with these guys, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I got it. I got it. Yeah, we need to, they're acting wonky. One of us needs to do something because one of us, it's
Very
fine.
perceptive. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's equal. It's not always him, it's not always me, but there's an
We're
energy.
human. We all have our ebbs and flows.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something that's not feeling right on their end. It's not feeling safe, it's not feeling balanced. So time to get ourselves in check, which usually does mean going back to breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Or any number of others. So the other thing that I wanted to mention, I don't know how much time we're going to have here left today, but the big thing that was on my mind. So the breathing wasn't the big thing that was on my mind. That's just the thing that I never not talk about because it's so freaking ridiculously simple, but so impactful. If you're not doing it, like it's free self-care and it's going to be one of the best things you could do for yourself. So if you're not doing it, do it.
yeah,
But
exactly.
that wasn't the big exciting thing I had in my mind. So we'll go back to like what a lot of people think of when they think of self-care. I think physical is so very obvious to a lot of people. And even these days, we're having more conversations about mental health and things like that. So this is more along those lines, but it's to get people to see that it's how do you do it, right? Separating yourself from social media sometimes if that's necessary, from certain communities that, no longer bring you the joy that maybe they once did or whatever the case. All of those things, yes. Boundaries, all those things. Probably, again, going back to one of the most profound things that we can do for ourselves that is simple in concept, not necessarily in application, but I'm going to help you get there anyways, is managing our thoughts. So our mental health, we're the ones that are in control of that. Yes, we can't control what other people say around us or about us or necessarily to us. We can set our boundaries. We can't control how other people respond. That's outside of, something that we're capable of doing. What we can do for ourselves, though, is take back control of what we're thinking. So I don't have a statistic on this. I actually wish I did right now at this point. So, but let's just put this out there. The average person probably thinks, I don't know, dozens, hundreds of maybe more thoughts that are not serving you each day. I won't call them negative because they don't always feel inherently negative. But if they're not serving you, then they're worth shifting, right? So um, if we're thinking about wanting to grow our business, wanting to deepen our relationship with our kids, wanting to strengthen marriages, whatever, anything it is, we're thinking about how bad things are, how we wish they were different, what we don't want, all of those things. That's keeping you from attaining the thing you want to think. It's keeping from the thing that you want to attain. So it's keeping you from moving towards the thing. So when you start shifting your mind to what do you want? What are the things that you are striving for? So you're looking at the positive over the negative, right? The affirmative over what you don't want. So when you're thinking about that way, that's just a very simple way to shift how you're thinking about things. And now it's simple, and that's actually one of the easier things that you can do. But you'll start to see that your mind goes more towards how do I better? So as a habit, it'll start to over time thinking, how do I make this better? What is the thing that I do want? How do I move towards the thing that I do want? And so it's a simple mindset shift that when practiced over time really does have a really drastic, significant, beautiful impact.
So, sorry, keep going.
Now go.
As you were saying that, I did a quick Google search.
Yeah. Oh, did you get a statistic for us?
I did. I did get a statistic for you. So the average human on an average day has 80% of our thoughts are negative.
Yuck.
95% are repetitive, which according to one of the studies on here, it says 60,000 thoughts a day. So if 80% of those are negative,
that's a lot of bombarding yourself with things that don't serve you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you looking that up. That's wild to hear about how much of your day is spent in a negative space instead of propelling yourself forward into the things that you do want.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I said here so far was instead of thinking of the things that we don't want, start thinking of the things that you do want. Another really important thing is, so you talked about how a massive percentage, like 90, 95%, did you say, of the thoughts are repetitive. So if we're thinking a negative thought and then we're repeating that negative thought, not getting us where we want to go, right? So instead, we're going to think the negative thoughts. Unfortunately, that's the truth. I'm not going to lie to you about that. We are going to think the negative thoughts or the thoughts that are tough or scary or fear-based, right? And we get to choose the next thought.
Yeah.
So when you think, I don't want to embarrass myself when I show up on the live today with Bonnie. Instead, I can think the next thought that I choose to eliminate that train and just stop it where it is and move forward where I do want to move to is I want to serve the audience the absolute best that I can today. Yeah. Or I will, instead of I want to, I will, I am going to. And at this point, my thoughts can be, I'm giving them the best that I have So it's choosing those thoughts that are more important, not to BS yourself, right? I'm not telling you to blow smoke up your own tailpipe. I'm just telling you, choose the thought that is believable that to you that better serves you.
Exactly.
And do that on a consistent basis. Every opportunity you get, every time it comes to mind, choose to do that. Set reminders for yourself. Give yourselves, little stickies or notes of inspiration to remind yourself to do these things. And over time, they do become a habit and they do become a more like go-to way of being.
Yeah. It becomes so natural over time. Like one of the things that we did recently with our 90-day participants is we actually talked about the by Felicia exercise that I do, where you expel all your negative thoughts, you expel all your positive thoughts, and then you come out with something that you can respond to,
Yeah.
or respond with when the thoughts pop up, because they're just going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just inevitable. But if you have a way to respond, it becomes natural. And one of the things I always tell people when I share that exercise is it actually has an official name, but I never remember what it is, because the minute I did the exercise and the person told me that what you're doing is you're saying goodbye to that negative voice each time, right?
Mhm.
Think of it that way. That was where my brain went to the movie Friday and the Bye Felicia scene. So when a negative thought pops in, it randomly will pop in that I'm saying Bye Felicia.
Mhm.
It's so natural now that it catches me off guard every once in a while.
Yeah, I love that. But that is what the repetition does, right? It makes it your new norm over time.
Yes.
To that, I would add one thing, and it would be if you find that these thoughts continue to come back time and time again, no matter your best efforts, right? Or more powerful, like they're just beating their way through your thoughts and keep coming back, no matter how hard you try. Here's what I would say to that. There's something that you need to learn about that before you can dismiss it. So before you can say bye, Felicia, something needs to be understood about why that thought is coming up. So essentially, there's probably a fear that's happening there. And once you understand what the fear is, then you can begin to move forward from it. So we don't ignore the fear.
Yeah.
I very much don't agree with the fake it till you make it, do it scared. We have to do things courageously. There's going to be a fear factor, but that doesn't mean we pretend that it's not there. You have to explore it and see what it is so that you can start to minimize it.
Right. Right.
So just because I know for what you shared is brilliant. And I
Yeah.
think for a lot of people it'll work. But I also know this some people are coming back like, I'm stuck. I've done that. I've tried the thing. There's something else. And it's because there's something more to be explored there.
Exactly. Exactly. That exercise is really just a beginner step.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
so
We're
much.
retraining the brain and it's
Yeah.
essential.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when you get stuck, here's why I felt it was really important to bring that up. I think a lot of people hear these things from people like you, coaches like me, and they're like, it's not working for me, so it's not going to work for me, or I'm broken, or there's something wrong with me, or like, and then they just give it up or feel disheartened. And I don't want anybody to feel that way. Understand that if these tips aren't working for you, like these exercises, these, visualizations, all of these things, it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's because you're not starting where you are. You're starting where somebody else suggested you might be. So stepping back and looking at where you are and what more do you need to understand about you.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So
that's the point when if you're watching this or you're watching anybody else's and you find yourself, you're just watching thing after thing after thing, and you're trying thing after thing after thing, and it's not working. Now you're at a place where you need to talk to somebody, because there's something maybe you're not seeing. And it's not that there's anything wrong with any of us. We're just humans. These are just
yeah,
chemical reactions that happen. And we have to figure out how to, and I hesitate saying deal with them, but we have to figure out how to, um,
attend to.
yeah, that's a much better way of saying that. So that we have a natural process and a natural flow in our life to make those negative moments a little less impactful.
Yeah.
And that's the point when you do talk to somebody, because a lot of times with my sessions, it's not that I am telling somebody someone they don't know. It's I'm saying something or seeing something from a different perspective. And that different perspective is the core root and reason why they're able to go down pathways that are healing for them.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know,
we do get very stuck in our norms. And like I said earlier, my for almost 40 years, the statement, just assuming that I was somebody who was high anxiety and that I'm I'm just a stressed person. I'm a high stress individual. Like I just assumed that was my norm and I didn't think to question it. Now, had I repeated that to a coach, the coach likely would have caught that happening on repeat and gone, hey, have you ever noticed that you have a story about what things look like for you? Have you ever thought to question it? What else? Like, how different could it be for you? And that could have been. I mean, the path happened the way it was supposed to, but the point is, we don't know our own blind spots. It's when we have somebody else kind of looking and going, "Are you aware that you've said that same thing 3 times now, and you've just accepted it as part of your normal?" Let's look at that from a different perspective.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's I think that's a really good point to make is you should look at it from a different perspective. But we're not always able
Well,
to,
no, and again, that's why when you have an outside source who can point
yeah,
it out for you, right?
yeah, that's why both of us have jobs. I mean, legitimately, that's why the majority of people in a field like ours have
Mhm.
jobs because you need that outside perspective to be able to take those steps forward. And it's not that you can't do it without a coach or nutritionist or health professional of any kind. You can totally do it on your own. People do it every day. It
Sure.
just makes the path a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And
I had this conversation with somebody the other day. It expedites your
yes,
journey.
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kids have I'm flying solo for a couple of days this week. So mama brain has kicked in.
Enjoy it.
I love the time with them. It's so wonderful to like not even have to think about somebody, another adult in the space. It's so nice and so enjoyable. But I will say all the adult words that normally sit in my head are gone.
I still have issues with that, full disclosure, and my kids are 11 and 9 now.
Yeah.
But as long as I could, I blamed it on pregnancy brain, and then I blamed it on mom brain. Now I am starting to blame it on things like perimenopause. But
I mean, really, all it is for me, and I know exactly what it is, but I'm totally gonna blame it on mom brain because it sounds much easier to me. It sounds much nicer. I like it. But it's just my brain is trying to pull itself in too many directions.
yeah.
And I'm not very good at multitasking. If you've seen any of my lives when I first start, the whole like process of trying to get onto a Facebook Live,
Most people aren't good at
no, and
multitasking. We think we're better than we are. We are
yeah,
mostly not.
and they require us to pay attention to 2 to 3 different things, and I that is not my strong suit.
If you were to look up this statistic, and I'm not suggesting you do that, but a very small percentage of people actually do well multitasking. Most of us who think we do are mistaken, sadly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I read that stat a long time ago, and I was like, oh yay, I'm good. I'm just gonna own it.
Yep. Yeah. So self-care, there it is. It's not, okay. So there was something else I wanted to mention, just in case, there's people listening who haven't heard me talk about it before, which is the all likely hood here. Some of the most important things that now I mentioned some things you can do to attend to self-care on a deeper level. Some of the most important things to take away are knowing that you've got to fill mind, body, and spirit. So I personally talk about that through 4 lenses. So it's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And some forms of self-care are going to be fill multiple categories. Mental and emotional are very closely related, and basically our mental, our thoughts impacts our emotions. So they're not the exact same thing, they are sisters, um, or brothers if you like. But you've got to be attending to all of those themes. So if you're like, oh, I've been doing my healthy eating, I've been getting good rest, I've even been managing my thoughts pretty well. Like I'm still not really feeling fully rejuvenated in my flow kind of situation. Take a look. Are you really filling all your cups? Have you attended to your spiritual? I don't necessarily mean religious. That's just if it's religious for you, beautiful. If it's not, that's fine. We can all still find spiritual self-care through moments of silence, sitting in nature, meditation of some sort. So whatever that looks like for you as an individual, are you attending to it? Right. And then not thinking that, you have to have these giant pockets or giant vacations or massages. It's what can I do for 2 minutes here? Deep breathing. Like, what can I do for 5 minutes here? What can I do for 30 seconds here? Express gratitude. And all throughout your day, if you're doing these little tiny micro moments of deep breathing, expressing gratitude, shifting the mindset to something that better serves you, hydrating, that takes next. I've been doing it the whole time we've been on here. That takes nothing. It's just making sure you're doing all these things all day long, consistently throughout your day. When you're doing those things and you're doing them intentionally, you're doing self-care. And you're doing it in a way that is going to rejuvenate you, fill your cup, all of those things.
Exactly. Exactly. So, you guys, one of the reasons I asked Heather to come up here is I noticed she was doing this workshop on Facebook. And I was like, okay, I know a few of you need to get this workshop. And then it was like, okay, well, I can send you a link or we can talk about it. And then you can mention that. And then I can send the link because then you get to at least hear her a little bit. Because I think it's really important. Like one of the things I always say in my marketing is I may not be the person that you align with. I may not be the person that you listen to,
Yeah.
but maybe I'm the person that you need to hear to get to that person, that is the nutritionist you need. I love hearing people talk. And then from there, I decide where I want to go. So that's how I actually ended up asking Heather to pop on here with me because I mean you guys know we've been going live here for a while between Sam and I think Carrie's been on with me and a couple of other people. So can you tell everyone about the workshop because I would love to get that out there and I will definitely put a link in the comments you guys like once I figure out how to unstream on Facebook.
Heck,
We'll figure that out and then we'll put it in the comment. But
we
can
will
you
make sure the link is available. Yes. So yes, I will share. Thank you and thank you for providing the platform for me to talk about it because I mean, I wouldn't do it if it didn't matter. If I didn't think it was super impactful and super exciting and, life changing for people, I wouldn't spend the time and energy doing it. So having the ability to talk to people about it, I'm grateful for to begin with. So what is this thing? It's a 3-hour workshop that I created. And the foundation of it is it's a goal setting workshop is what I call it, or it's more like a goal setting intensive. And so it's an opportunity. The goal setting can be business related. I say that because I tend to work with business owners, but I had people last month who were business owners, but their goals were more specific to self-care. So if self-care is the goal, beautiful. I'm going to come back to that thought in a second. But essentially what we do is so many of us are afraid to really dream big, where we aren't necessarily feeling afraid of doing it, but we've forgotten how, or our logical adult brains get in the way. And we're like, oh yeah, but I've tried that, or that's not a thing I'm going to be able to attain because an entire life exists over here that's going to get in the way, right? We get in our way of dreaming big. So we take an opportunity to remove those limitations. I walk attendees through an exercise where we remove the limitations and we dream big about what are all the things that you deeply desire for your life, business, attending to yourself, your relationships in your life, whatever they are. And then when we remove those limitations and you have a picture of what your soul is actually calling to you for, then we start to pull out what are those things that call the loudest, and we turn them into actual actionable goals. So I call it smashing your goals. I have my own little acronym that I've created for it, which I love at this point. I was never a smart goals girl. If you're a goals, can't even say it right. Or any of the other acronyms, rock on. You can do that. I like smashing my goals, so it's what I teach. But I also teach do the thing that calls to you. So if you like SMART goals, set SMART goals. The point of it is, though, we set them in a way that number one, you walk out of the workshop with steps that you're going to take that day and that week, and then the following week. So it's not just a concept. You've got micro steps that you're going to take. You've got accountability in place to make sure you stay on track with those steps. And you've got the mindset tools, at least some of them, to get you started so that when the limitations kick back in, because they will, because it's your habit. So when the limited mindset kicks back in, that you have some ways to remove it so that you can continue to move forward. And of course, I'm always there on the other side if anybody wants deeper work. But walking out of the workshop, you don't leave thinking, okay, now what? You leave knowing now what? And with all the support to make it your reality. So that's why I call it an intensive. We don't just set goals. Like when you walk out, you're already doing the thing. So I said I was going to come back to, I started with talking about self-care. I always do this. I go on a tangent.
Oh,
Oh, here's the thought. Thankfully, I came back to it. Okay.
good.
So the beauty of this process is once you set whatever goal it is that you choose for that particular session, you can like lather, rinse, repeat. You can use the same thing to set the next goal and the next goal and in all of the areas in your life that makes sense for you to attend to right now.
Yeah.
That was what that thought was. So it might be business related, and you might decide I also want to implement something, for self-care, something like that. And you can do both of those things. And then you have the know-how when you leave the workshop.
I love that. I love that because there's so many workshops nowadays that I see that they're all business focused, and trying to take something like that and apply it to my personal life when I only understand it in this way, it's a challenge. So I love that you open it up. And yeah, I appreciate the SMART goals, but it doesn't work for me. So
Yeah, they were never my jam. I'm not saying that they don't work. I mean, they're a thing for a reason. They work for a lot of people. They weren't mine. But the point is you get to choose. You like SMART goals, set SMART goals. There are other acronyms that people use one of those. If you like the way that I smash goals, when you come and learn about because smash is an acronym, it also is just clever because I want to smash my goals, but it's an acronym. So, um, whatever drives you, do that thing.
exactly. I love that. I think that's part of Heather and I have always connected on so many different levels. And I think it really does come down to the core root of we don't want to just spoon feed you information. We want you to apply the things that make sense for you.
Yes.
This is your life. You need to hear what you need to hear and do what you need to do in a way that makes sense for you,
Yes.
not in a way
Yeah.
that
No cookie cutter.
no, and neither one of us do anything cookie cutter.
No.
So I would definitely say if you get the chance, hop into that workshop. It will definitely be worthwhile.
Yes, please do. At least come check it out. So it's called Dream Define Do. We will drop the link, but it's the Dream Define Do workshop. It's next week. It's actually 1 week from now. So it's next Tuesday, and it's a 3 hour. So it's 10 a.m. Central Time to 1 p.m. Central. So, whatever that is Eastern. You all work that out because I always get it confused. I think
I know
11
Eastern,
Eastern.
I know Pacific. So Pacific is 2 hours behind. So that's 8
Yeah.
a.m. for you guys, and then 11 o'clock on Eastern. But
Yeah.
I've lived on both coasts and live in the middle, and I
Me
always
too.
grew up Central Time.
I live in Central, so I give it in Central. I like you, like totally off topic. I was born on the East Coast. I've lived on the West Coast. I've lived everywhere in between. I've lived in other countries. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
10 a.m. Central.
Yeah, there you go. We'll keep it simple. There you go, you guys. And you can always just put it into the time clock on Google, and it'll tell you what it means your time.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
all right, people. Thank you. I'm so glad we got to do this. We should definitely do this again.
True. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for making
Oh,
the suggestion.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right, you guys, we're gonna drop the link below. I know everyone's busy. And yeah, you and I will talk later.
We will. We'll be talking soon.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.
I'm trying to figure this out now. Let's see. It's being sent to Facebook. You guys get to watch me do this. I love that, every once in a while we get stop live stream. Hey, figured it out. All right. Bye, guys.